Every once in a while, I get in the mood to just pick a random game out of the air to play. It just so happens that I decided to review it this time around as well. That game that probably no one has ever heard of is Leo's Fortune, a puzzle platformer that I found on PlayStation Now. The graphics look good, and it looked like that casual game I could play before work when I didn't want to get into anything that would chew up a ton of time. Well, it fits that criteria perfectly, as it definitely isn't a long game, but at least it was fun. In Leo's Fortune, you play as Leo, who has lost his fortune. I know, shocker, right? He contemplates that some sort of thief took it all, and purposely left the trail of his gold so that Leo could be led to the culprit. Because of this, Leo sets out to find out who exactly took his wealth, and why. Leo's Fortune is a very simple game to play. The only things you do are move and jump. There are no enemies that you have to defeat. There's not really a way of dying either, other than falling down a pit or into spikes. But when that happens, you simply spawn in at the beginning of the segment that you were working on. If it was a platforming area, you're usually just thrown to the point before you had to start making the leaps. If it was a puzzle, you come back to that same room. It's an easy system to learn if you fail a lot while playing, but if you're anything higher than a casual gamer, you won't struggle too much, which is fine since it's really aiming to be that casual platforming game that you play to relax. So here's the gameplay. As Leo, your job is simply to follow the path of coins, sliding around the map and just figuring out how to proceed once you hit an obstacle. Many puzzles are physics-based, with objects reacting to Leo and other objectives. Many puzzles require altering weights in some way, whether it be putting blocks on one side of a plank to create a seesaw effect, or moving some stuff onto buttons. Nothing is timed, so if you aren't seeing the solution right away, you aren't rushed into making hasty moves to figure it out, and being forced to restart it as a consequence of failing. It also helps that the game isn't long. Each stage can typically be completed in about 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how fast you can grasp the answers of the rooms placed in front of you. Add in that there's a bit over 20 levels, and you can easily complete the game in about an hour or two. And you'll have to if you want to get all the stars on a level. Let me elaborate on that. Each stage has 3 stars that you can earn, and each are done in the same way as each stage. The first is to simply collect every one of Leo's coins in that level. The second is to not fail in a stage, so no falling down pits or touching spikes. The third is the game's time trial, where you are tasked with running, or I guess in Leo's case sliding, through the stage as fast as possible. The quirk to this is that the game doesn't exactly tell you what the target time is, so you'll just have to keep trying until you finally earn that star. And what are the stars for? Other than a trophy? I can't tell you. I think it's just for bragging rights. Nothing in the game that I can recollect had stated anything about earning any kind of bonuses by earning these stars. Oh well, for those collectionists out there, the gauntlet has been thrown. So I really don't have much else to say about the gameplay, because it's fairly straightforward, so I'm just going to move on to the graphics. They're done extremely well, yet still contain that simplistic style. Leo has that fuzzy look to him, which I don't even know who Leo is, but it does give a pleasant, almost peaceful feel to the character, whatever he may be. The stages all have different themes, whether it be a dark underground mine, a snowy mountain, and so on. But nothing that you run into feels out of place, and even the transitions between areas feel natural. The sounds are equally as minimalistic as the rest of the game. The music is gentle, and the sounds are, well, there. Leo will say a few lines here and there throughout the stages, but most of his speech are simplistic monologues between the worlds, done to further explain the story and his mentality of continuing on. So, what else is there to say about Leo's Fortune? Really, I have nothing else to note. It's just a short but enjoyable game where Leo finds out who took his gold and why they left the trail of it behind. The ending is something you'll probably see coming about halfway through the game, but even so, I enjoyed the hour or so I spent with the game. If you have PlayStation Now, it's part of the service, but if you don't, I'd say it's still worth the $7 asking price. Especially if you dare to complete the whole game without dying in the hardcore mode that you can unlock. Now, that's replay value. But seriously, give this one a go if you want a good, casual, fun game. It may not break any molds, but what it does well. Final score? 5 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.